Hi, I'm Stephanie Olson, and welcome to Resilience in Life and Leadership. And I just want to talk about something that's been on my heart lately. I think that 3, 2, 1, I want to talk about adult friendships. I think that it's really important to really recognize the differences and the limitations we, particularly as women, I cannot speak to men because, well, I'm not one. So, but women, how, what kind of pressure we put on each other to be the kind of friend we need. And I want to talk about that a little bit because I went through an experience where somebody got really upset with me because I was apparently not the friend they needed. Apparently, I disappeared from their life, and in their mind, I disappeared from their life, and I wasn't there for them. And for that, I feel really terrible. What I was thinking through, though, was that this was someone who also never reached out to me, who never said, "Hey, how are you doing? What's going on in your life?" And through the time that we weren't connected, um, I had a lot of traumatic things happen in my world. Um, some with my children. I lost my dad. A lot of things happened. And I think sometimes we have an expectation that the other person needs to reach out, that the other person needs to make an effort. I see this a lot of times on Facebook where people say, "Hey, this is my story. This is what's going on with me, but you haven't reached out to me." We need to be the ones to reach out to others because sometimes they can't reach out to us, whatever that reason may be. Now, there are times when life just gets busy. My priority in my home is God, my family, and work. And I don't know about you, but that can take up an awful lot of time. And I'm not saying that friendships aren't important. Hey, we need to invest. We need to invest in our friends. We need to make an effort. We need to do that. But I have friends in my world that one in particular with the same beautiful name that I have, we didn't talk for years, years. And we reconnected, and it was like we never separated. That's what true adult friendships are like, where you go and you might not talk for months, and then you reconnect, and it's like, wow, nothing has changed. I think what we're talking about really is offense. Do we allow offenses to build up and cause bitterness? Do we allow people to say something that's hurtful, perhaps, and instead of addressing it at that moment, maybe we just hold on tightly and hold it against that person? In the case of my friend, I had no idea I did anything wrong. So I think we need to think about those things. What are we doing to benefit our friendships? 3, 2, 1. I want to talk a little bit about offenses. Um, three, 3, 2, 1. I want to talk a little bit about offenses Because we are living in a world right now where people say things and it gets blown out of proportion. We get offended, we get angry, we get upset, and one of two things happens. We either confront the situation in an angry way, or we don't confront it at all and allow it to build up and seep inside of us, where it just festers and grows and explodes. That's what happens a lot. And although we're going to get offended, we are going to have people say things that hurt. We're going to have people say things that just feel icky or just that is just not fair. But it's what we do with that that is so important. And that's our choice. We get to choose that. So are we going to take that on ourselves and let it fester? Or are we going to blow up and just cause chaos? Or are we going to stop and maybe confront it? I mean, you can have those difficult relationships. I just talked about conflict resolution this morning in a message, and conflict is not something that is always negative. In fact, addressing conflict is a positive thing because it gets it out in the open. We have a conversation when we disagree, but we can do that in ways that are respectful. We can do that in ways that show that we're mature adults, and we can do that in a way that is loving. We can tell somebody, hey, that really hurt my feelings, and it's okay. That's a good thing. Now, how they respond to it at that point is their choice, but we can only focus on our response, right? I had a situation where somebody told me, I reached out. You know how you are as an adult, and or whatever age you are. As an adult, our friendships are very important. However, they look different. Our friendships look very different than they did in high school, even in college, because now we have, family. Now we have a career. And in my world, in my home, it goes by priority: God, family, and career. That's kind of the priority. Self care is in there somewhere too, yes. But sometimes, because of that priority, things get really busy. My focus is on those three things. And I don't know about you, but when my focus is on those three things, some things kind of go to the side a little bit. And unfortunately, those can be friendships. Now, I'm not saying you shouldn't invest in your friendships. I'm not saying you shouldn't um, put them as a priority. But I'm saying that when a person doesn't have a focus on you, for example, don't let offense take over. If you have a friend who isn't communicating, ask them why. I have a good friend who I have to be the one to make the phone call, and that's just how she is. She's an amazing person. You know who I'm talking about if you're listening to this. Amazing person, amazing mom, amazing wife, but not the best at picking up the phone and calling or even texting. That's just who she is. And so if I want to have a phone call with her, I can pick up the phone and call her. Now, she's also 2-hour different time zones, so that does make it challenging. But I know that it's not that she doesn't love me or that she doesn't want to talk about me or she's not thinking about me or she doesn't care about me. She's just not that person who picks up the phone and calls. Now, then I get to choose. Do I want to remain to be friends with her or not? Do I need a different kind of friend or not? That's what I can choose. But I choose to pick up the phone occasionally and text her and see how she's doing, and then we have conversations. I've got another friend who tells me, "Hey, just so you know," I work with this person. "Hey, just so you know, if we ever stop working together, I probably won't reach out as much as I do," because they just know that's the kind of friend they are. That doesn't make them a bad friend. That just means that their focus is on their priorities. And so when I reached out to this friend, I found out that she was extremely offended because she said I disappeared from her life, which I felt really bad about because that was never my intent. During that time, I went through some pretty traumatic things with my family, um, with my kids. I lost my dad. Just a lot went on. And so, yeah, my focus was not on that person. My focus was on all of the things going on. But the fact that I picked up the phone and reached out should have said, I care about you. I want to maintain a friendship. What was so sad to me was that she said I disappeared from her life, but in fact, I never heard from her either. So that offense, what I did, which I didn't even know I did, that's the thing about offense. If you don't tell the person you're offended, sometimes they don't even realize what they did offended you. And sometimes it's as simple as, hey, what you just did right now, that's offensive. And they might say, oh my gosh, I'm sorry, that wasn't what I meant. I apologize. Could be as simple as that instead of holding offense and grudge for years. So I reached out, I apologized for disappearing, but said, adult friendships, this is what happens. And that was it. I never heard from them again. That's sad. But that's what offense does. When we get offended, when we get bitter, when we get, resentful, that only hurts us. That seeps in, that resentment, that unforgiveness seeps in and hurts us. I, as a part of AA for many years, always heard the analogy drinking or bitterness is like drinking poison, hoping that the other person will die. That's what it is. Bitterness is like drinking poison, hoping the other person will die. It will not hurt the other person, it will hurt us. And so, in this divisive time in our country, in this time of just so much anger, so much fuming and hate that goes on in social media, here's what I would say to you: don't get so easily offended. Let things roll off your back. And don't get in fights on social media. That would be my biggest advice. Usually not the place to do that. And if somebody does offend you, somebody says something racist or somebody says something that's upsetting to you or so whatever it may be, if somebody says something that offends you, tell them. Tell them right there. And tell them in a respectful way so they hear. Now, they may choose not to hear, then that's their choice. That would be their problem, and that would be their loss. So, words hurt, words are powerful, words are strong, but let's try and take offense in stride and not allow things to get us to the point where it's eating us up when we really want to stick it to the other person. And I would say if you can turn that over to God, that's what you should do. But don't allow bitterness to get in your heart. Makes you old, makes you ugly, makes you mean. So let go of bitterness, let go of offense. Thanks for listening. See you next time.